I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be how men can have multiple orgasms. Well, I've been getting a lot of emails lately from guys we've got guys here that are virgins that are trying to have sex for the first time. I got guys that are about to have sex or seduce a woman that they're really crazy about, they're really into, and so they're worried about premature ejaculation or not being able to perform or to start having sex, and because they're so excited they blow their wad after a few seconds, and then instead of having this great first sexual encounter with a woman, it turns out that it really kind of sucks. So I'm going to teach you a technique that I learned so you can actually have multiple orgasms. That means after you blow your wad, not only are you still able to stay hard, but you can have multiple orgasms. And yes, men can definitely do it. You just got to teach and train your body how to do it. And so I got a quote here I think is kind of appropriate for this topic, and it's by Frederick Wilcox. And he says, "Progress always involves risk. You can't steal second base and keep your foot on first base." No pun intended. So I've got this email here from this guy. And so first I want to go into this technique. And it's really, really simple. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do it several days for a couple of weeks. And it'll get you to the point where you pretty much can blow your wad and just keep on going to the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth inning, and until you just get so fucking dead tired you can't move anymore. And your girl wonders, where the hell did that come from? How the hell did you pull that off? And so I actually learned this technique. I think it was called the Better Sex Video Series. And they've got some, if you want to become really comfortable with your body and learn how to push all the right buttons, so to speak, with your body, they've got a really great bunch of video DVDs that they've done. The actors and the actresses that are in them, I'm going to warn you, aren't very attractive, but they're great because these people are very in touch with their bodies, and they can teach you how to do a lot of amazing things and how to have a lot of fun in the bedroom with your girl. But this technique that I want to talk about, obviously, is basically get your favorite lubricant together, and what you're going to do is you're going to lube your hand up. Now what you're going to do is you're going to jerk yourself off until, it's like right until you get to the point. Another thing that you want to do is that you want to sit there and you want to relax. You don't want to try to force the feeling or this sensation. What you want to do is you want to get to a place where you just let the sensations happen to your body. And so when you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to get to the point where you're just about ready to climax. And what I want you to do is, like, right when you get there, you take your hand off your dick and let it rest for a few seconds, maybe 5-10 seconds, and then put your hand back on, start stroking again. And the idea is, like, right as you get to the point where you're about to explode, you take your hands off your body and you just sit there and you don't move. And you're going to wait a few seconds. So the idea is to bring over the course of a half hour, you got to do this for at least a half hour, is you bring yourself right to climax at least 6 different times, and then just as you're about to explode, you remove your hand. And you got to, and so it was like, say, like you end up doing like 10 times, bringing yourself to climax over the course of a half hour. After a half hour has passed, and you're going to need to watch the clock to do this, it's really important that the duration of time, because what's going to happen is you're going to get the nerves at the head of your dick, because that's where all of the nerves are. You're going to get yourself to the point where the sensations are there, and you can feel the feelings, but not just like totally explode like a little teenage boy who's never had sex for the first time. And so, like, if you're a guy who's a virgin, you want to lose your virginity, because this is a big fear that guys have, is they want to be able to perform, especially if it's their first time. They don't want to be a 2-pump chump, and then she's like, "You mean that's it?" You don't want that situation to happen. And so what it does is it numbs the end of your dick to the point where it's not that you don't feel anything, it's just that it's like in a way that you're able to allow the sensations to happen to your body. And what'll happen is it'll get to the point where even if you blow your wad after a minute or two of having sex, you'll still stay hard, because you've retrained your body to stay hard even after you blow your wad. And so what you're going to do is you're going to practice this. Just do it on a daily basis. You can do it in the morning, you can do it at night. It really doesn't fucking matter. But the idea is you got to bring yourself to climax a minimum of 6 times over the course of a half hour. Now maybe you bring yourself, maybe like a dozen times it happens, but the idea is you got to be able to get past a half hour doing this. But the key is to remove your hand before you blow your wad. And you're going to do this for a couple of weeks in a row. And what will happen is, like, after the half hour passes, then you blow your wad. The idea is make sure you switch hands, because your arm's going to get tired, obviously, is get to the point where you're able to bring yourself, because your dick's going to stay hard. Because the first time you do, you'll be like, oh my God, my dick stayed hard, and I still blew my wad. And so when your dick stays hard, you continue to stroke it, because that'll keep it hard. And the idea is to get to the point where you bring yourself to climax, and you have a second orgasm, a third orgasm, a fourth orgasm. And so you get comfortable in your own body doing this on your own. And then therefore, when you're with a chick, it's not a big deal, because you've already gotten to the point where you can feel the sensations without, like, totally coming unglued, so to speak, pun intended, when you're with a girl. And so the idea, and plus you'll continue to practice it. So, like, if you're hooking up with a girl for a couple of weeks and then you're no longer seeing her, and then maybe it's a couple of weeks before you meet somebody new, the idea is that in between that is you keep doing it, and you keep practicing it until the point where it's pretty easy for not only you to hold it for a half hour, but even after you blow your wad, to continue to stay hard. And then it won't matter. And I'm telling you, once you do this and you get used to it, it's going to put you in a place of peace and ease when it comes to your sex life, because you're never ever again going to have to worry about performance anxiety or being able to perform, because then when you have sex, you'll just be having sex, and when your orgasm happens, it just happens. And after your orgasm happens, you're able to have a second and a third and a fourth. Especially like me, I love it when my girl's on top. That's like my favorite position of all, because usually that's where, like, if a woman's comfortable with her own body, she's going to be able to have multiple orgasms too. And I've found all the women that I've been with over the years, across the board, most women like being on top, just because of the position it puts their body in. It stimulates their nerve endings, enables them to have multiple orgasms. And it's a really great, fucking spectacular sexual experience to have a girl on top of you who you love and who you adore, and you watch her just getting off one orgasm, 2, 3, 4 after another, and you're doing the same thing, and you stay hard the whole time. And so when you guys end up getting done having sex, it really is like the indoor Olympics, because you're both dead flat fucking tired. And so let's go through this email real quick. He says, hey Corey, I want to thank you for everything that you do, especially your YouTube videos, and a really good job I think you're doing. I appreciate all that you do for your fellow man. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. It's my purpose. My mission in life is to help people experience the things that I've experienced and avoid all the pain, the difficulties, and the challenges that I've had to go through in my own life. So he says, I started seeing a woman a couple weeks ago, and I honestly haven't had that many relationships yet in my life. And so I'm not sure about the timing of things, but we're really into each other, and we make out from time to time. And the thing is, I'm still a virgin. I also don't know how much experience she's had with sex either, if any. It just hasn't come up in conversation yet. Well, sex is not something that comes up usually in conversation. It's something that just kind of happens, and you have fun with it. And guys, I wrote an article a while back called Deflowering Your Virgin Girlfriend. It was this guy who had a couple of instances with his girlfriend. He got really close because she was a virgin, and she stopped him. And where he was fucking up was he started talking about things, and he created awkward situations. And if you Google Corey Wayne Deflowering Your Virgin Girlfriend, and you read that, it's actually a really beautiful article of how this guy made his girlfriend's first time when he took her virginity a really special, memorable experience. And at the end, afterwards, she was like, thank you so much for making my first time so special. And that's pretty awesome. And so the idea, I talk about this a lot in my book, but I'm not going to go into the whole process of seduction, but the idea is that kissing, making out, it leads to heavy petting. Heavy petting leads to your hand wandering up the back of her shirt, and definitely with your fingers undoing her bra behind her back, and then eventually her bra comes off, her shirt comes off, her pants come off, then eventually her panties come off, your clothes come off, and eventually you end up inside of her having sex. And so when a guy, it's in your case where you want to lose your virginity, obviously probably in the back of your mind you're worried about being able to perform, or that you get so excited that you start having sex and you blow your wad after a few seconds. That's why the technique that I shared with you earlier in the video will really help you. And so before you get to the point you're having sex, you get to the point where you can have multiple orgasms on your own and stay hard afterwards. Then no matter what happens the first time you have sex with your girl, whether you blow your wad right away or 20 minutes into it you blow your wad, it doesn't matter, because you're still going to be able to stay hard, and make sure that the two of you are satisfied. And then what's going to do is going to take away all the stress and all the performance anxiety, because you're not going to care one way or another. It's like you're going to let it happen. And a lot of what I teach is how to be detached and detach yourself from the outcome, so you can pretty much have a take it or leave it kind of attitude, where you want the woman, but you're just as fine with things not happening or not working out. Either way, you could take it or leave it. It's a great way to be towards life, and it's also a great mindset to bring into your sex life. If you can teach yourself and you take the time to learn and to practice this stuff on your own, masturbating on your own to the point where you can have multiple orgasms, it makes you feel pretty cocky, pretty confident, especially when you meet a chick out and you want to have a one-night stand, you've had a few drinks, and you're not going to worry anymore about, gee, am I going to be able to perform when I get home? Am I going to need to pop in them blue pills kind of thing, because you practice this stuff enough on your own. So I highly encourage you to learn this before you have sex the first time with your girl, and that way you make sure you have a great experience for both of you. So she'll want to continue to have sex with you. So the idea is that you keep going. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And so as you guys are fooling around, and like, obviously in your case, let's go through the email a little bit further before I get into what I was going to say. So he says, I started seeing this woman a couple of weeks ago, and I honestly haven't been in that many relationships yet in my life, so I'm not sure about the timing of things, but we're really into each other, and we make out from time to time. And the thing is, I'm still a virgin, and I don't know how much experience that she's had with sex either. He says, but when we make out, it feels like it's getting pretty close to that point. Now, the thing is, the other thing I want to say is sex has got to be the guy's fault. Now, keep that in mind. So he says that the thing is that we both still live with our parents, and we're both still quite young and haven't made our way to a stable career yet. And I was wondering what advice you could offer on this subject, basically, because naturally I'm nervous about what's going to happen, and secondly, we both still live with our parents and our families. And so if anything is going to happen, how can we possibly do anything if someone else is always at home? He says, I'm 23 and she's 27. So what I would suggest is, I mean, obviously, be at home when you know somebody's not going to be at home. And if, like, your parents and there's always family members at home, then the best thing to do is, I mean, you're obviously adults at this point. So if I would say down the road, after you guys have been dating a month or so, and go away for the weekend, just get a bed and breakfast and say, hey, I want to take you away for the weekend. Just like do like it could be a Friday night thing, like an overnight thing, and say, I got a really cool place I'm going to take you to, and I got us a really, really great room there, so we can stay there overnight. And then you can go and you can have some fun, use Google Maps, plan a lot of cool things in the city to do that are fun things to do that you've never done before, and go back to your bed and breakfast. And since you've been preparing and practicing ahead of time, when you start kissing and making out, it leads to heavy petting, because you're obviously said yourself, because your girl gets turned on, she starts grabbing and tearing at your clothes and grabbing your pants and grabbing your dick and pulling your shirt out. I mean, those things are just naturally going to evolve into sex. And more than likely, if you're with a 27-year-old chick, I would say if I was a betting man, she's probably already had sex and probably had it several times, so she's going to know what to do in a lot of cases. But you want to get yourself into performance shape so you can perform when you're with her. But that's what I would do. Go away for just a simple hotel away for the weekend is all you need to do, so you can get out of the house, so you guys can have some privacy and get intimate and pop your cherry. So if you want to get my help, go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. And I'll talk to you soon.